Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English podcast.
You know that feeling when you're trying to speak English? The words are sort of almost there,
Mm-hmm.
but your brain feels like it's running a million miles an hour, just analyzing every single syllable, every grammar rule.
Oh, absolutely. That hesitation.
Yeah, that feeling of being completely stuck. That's exactly what we're diving into today. How to break free from that overthinking and, finally speak English more confidently.
Exactly. And we've looked at some really interesting stuff about why this happens, this overthinking loop.
Right.
And more importantly, we've pulled out some concrete step-by-step strategies people can actually start using, like right away.
Okay, good. Practical steps.
Yeah, to speak more freely and without that mental logjam. Our mission today is really to understand why it happens and give you the tools to move past it, to get your thoughts out there.
Okay, so let's get into the why then. Why does our brain suddenly turn into this, super harsh editor the second we try to speak English?
Haha. Yeah, it's like,
It's like all those grammar lessons suddenly decide to have a party in your head, right when you need quiet.
that's a great way to put it. And it's fascinating how often learners get caught in that mental whirlwind before they even say a word.
Mm-hmm.
It's this intense worry about, is my grammar perfect? Did I pick the exact right word? And underneath it all, often this fear of just sounding, well, unintelligent.
Right. That fear is huge.
It really is. It's like having this constant critical voice broadcasting doubts.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it incredibly hard to just focus on communicating.
That mental noise, yeah.
Yeah.
It just freezes you, doesn't it? You might have a perfectly good idea. Maybe you even know the words.
Yeah, you do.
But your brain gets so bogged down in the what ifs and the maybe that's wrong that the whole communication thing just grinds to a halt.
It does. And fundamentally, this overthinking, it often stems from wanting to be perfect, which is understandable.
Sure.
But language, its real purpose isn't about hitting some kind of flawless ideal, right?
So, if it's not about being perfect, what should the focus be when we're trying to talk to someone in English?
Connection. It's about being understood, sharing your ideas.
Okay.
Think of it like a tool. You don't need the shiniest, most perfect tool. You need the one that, gets the job done.
Right, gets the message across.
Exactly. Conveying your meaning. That's the goal, not this perfect grammatical performance.
Okay, that helps. But let's talk about one of the biggest drivers of that overthinking, the fear of making mistakes. It really feels like we're taught that errors are just bad, full stop.
This is such a crucial point. Because what if we completely flipped how we see mistakes?
Left it how?
Well, in traditional learning, yeah, errors are negative, avoid them, red pen everywhere.
Uh-huh, we've all been there.
But for learning a language, mistakes are actually, well, they're incredibly valuable. They're like little nuggets of gold, almost.
Valuable. Okay, explain that. How is getting something wrong actually helpful?
Well, think about it. Every time you make a mistake, maybe someone corrects you. Maybe you just realize it yourself later.
Yeah.
Your brain gets vital feedback. It flags up, okay, this bit isn't quite right yet. It shows you exactly where you need to adjust.
So it's like a map pointing out where to go next.
Exactly. Instead of monsters under the bed, think of them as, like, helpful signposts on your learning journey. Milestones, even.
That really changes the perspective. It reminds me of how little kids learn to talk.
Oh, totally.
They just babble, try things out, get stuff wrong constantly, but they just keep going. No one's giving them grammar lectures.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's pure trial and error, immersion. They don't have that built-in fear yet.
Right.
And we as adult learners can really learn from that fearless approach. Try to consciously reframe mistakes. See them as proof. You're trying, you're engaging, you're growing.
Okay. Mistakes aren't the enemy. Maybe they're learning opportunities. That feels like a weight off my shoulders already.
Good. It should.
Now, this next idea you brought up is really interesting. Fluency is linked to thinking less, not speaking faster. That seems backwards somehow.
It does sound a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Mm.
We often think fluency means talking really, really fast.
Yeah.
But real fluency is more about accessing and producing language smoothly, automatically, without needing to consciously construct every single bit.
Okay. So less conscious effort.
Exactly. When you can quiet down that constant internal editor, that analysis, the words just have a much better chance to flow naturally.
So how do we actually do that? How do we think less when we're trying to speak English? It feels like my brain is just wired to analyze.
One really practical way is repetition. Take simple, common phrases you use often
Okay.
and just repeat them. over and over. Not just rote memorization, but getting your brain used to the sound and the pattern.
So it becomes automatic.
Yeah, exactly. So
Wait.
you don't have to consciously think, okay, subject, verb, object for those common structures. It trains your brain to recognize the chunks of language.
It's like building muscle memory, like you learn to type or ride a bike.
Precisely. That's a perfect analogy. At first, with typing, you hunt for every key. Then your fingers just know. Language can develop that same kind of automaticity. Common phrases just become available, ready to use without that heavy mental lifting each time.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Now, another key step you mentioned is thinking in English. That one. That can feel like a really big ask for some people. Where do you even start?
Yeah, I get that it can sound daunting, but the secret is to start incredibly small, like really, really small, in everyday moments.
Okay. Not complex thoughts then.
Definitely not. No need for internal philosophical debates, not yet anyway.
Uh-huh. Okay. Give us some easy examples. Things people can try, like today.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, picture this.
Yeah.
You're looking at your morning coffee.
Got it.
Instead of thinking the word in your first language, then translating.
Yeah.
Just think directly in English. This coffee is hot.
Okay. Simple observation.
Or you're walking outside. Weather's nice today. Feeling tired. I need a break. Just tiny, simple, direct thoughts.
So narrating little moments in your head, basically.
Exactly. And the key things here are no translation. Don't consciously translate back and forth. And no filter.
No filter. What do you mean?
Don't worry if the grammar isn't perfect in your head. The goal isn't internal perfection. It's just getting your brain used to operating in English, forming thoughts directly in English, however simple.
Ah, I see. Just creating the habit.
Yes. And over time, that inner voice, your internal monologue, it'll naturally start shifting more and more into English.
That makes a lot of sense, creating your own little English bubble. Okay, building on that, you also suggest talking to yourself, which I gotta say might sound a bit weird to some listeners.
Uh-huh. It definitely can feel a bit strange at first, I won't lie. But honestly, it's such an effective technique.
Why? What's the benefit of muttering to yourself in English?
It builds fluency and confidence in a totally zero-pressure environment. There's no one listening, no one judging. You can just practice.
Okay, so what would that actually look like? What kinds of things would you say?
Think about your daily routine. You open the fridge, just narrate it, out loud or just in your head, if you prefer.
Yeah.
Okay, opening the fridge. Nothing looks good.
Aha, okay. Relatable.
Or walking to the bus stop. Walking to the bus stop now. Ooh, it's colder than I thought. Just simple descriptions of what you're doing, seeing, feeling.
So it's like practicing output without any stakes.
Precisely. It gets you comfortable with the physical act of forming English sentences, trying out words, working on pronunciation maybe, all without that fear of getting it wrong in front of someone. It's like your own private rehearsal.
I can see how that would lower the pressure significantly. Okay, let's shift to another technique. Shadowing. This sounds really interesting for tuning your ear, maybe.
Shadowing is fantastic for several things, actually. Pronunciation, definitely. But also intonation, the melody of the language.
Right, the rhythm and flow.
Exactly. And just overall speaking confidence. It really helps you get the feel of spoken English.
So how does it work? What's the actual process?
It's pretty straightforward. You find some audio of a native speaker. Short clips work best, maybe from YouTube, a podcast, even a TV show.
Okay.
You listen closely, and then you try to repeat exactly what they're saying, almost at the same time as them, like you're their shadow or their echo.
Oh, so not listen then repeat, but repeat while listening.
Ideally, yeah. You're trying to mimic everything, the sounds, the rhythm, the pauses, the stresses, as closely as you can, right on their heels.
Wow, okay. That sounds challenging, but useful.
It can be at first. Start super short, just a sentence or two. Listen once carefully, then try to shadow. Don't worry too much about understanding every word initially. Focus on the soundscape.
And you can pause and repeat?
Absolutely. Pause, rewind, repeat sections as much as you need. Some people even record themselves shadowing and compare to the original. That can be really revealing.
It sounds like it directly trains your mouth and ears together. You mentioned it builds real speaking muscles.
Yeah, it's like physical training. You're literally coordinating the muscles in your mouth, tongue, jaw to make these specific English sounds and rhythms more naturally. It builds that neuromuscular connection.
We touched on this earlier, but it's clearly vital, so let's revisit mistakes. You frame them as proof you're learning. We need to really hammer this home.
We really do. It's so important to internalize this. Mistakes are not failure. They are a normal, necessary, even good part of learning anything complex, especially language.
You're not supposed to be perfect right away.
Exactly. You're a human learning, not a machine executing a program. And like we said, making mistakes often means you're pushing your boundaries.
Right, trying to say something a bit more complex than what you know perfectly.
Precisely. If you never, ever make mistakes, are you actually challenging yourself enough? Probably not. So the goal is to change your reaction to mistakes.
Instead of cringing, what?
Instead of embarrassment, try for curiosity or even a little satisfaction.
Satisfaction, really?
Yeah, like, okay, I tried something new there and it wasn't quite right. Cool, now I know. Or, nice, I just found a gap I can work on. See it as information, as feedback, not as a judgment.
Nice. I just learned something. That's a powerful shift.
Okay, now another big source of overthinking and freezing up, comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah, such a common trap. So destructive for confidence.
Yeah, you hear someone speaking really fluently and just think, wow, I'll never be that good.
Exactly that thought. And it immediately fuels more self-doubt, more overthinking. Why even bother trying?
Because we're comparing their highlight reel to our behind-the-scenes struggles.
Yes, like you have no idea how long they've been learning. Maybe they lived abroad. Maybe they're making mistakes. You just don't notice because you're focused on their fluency. It's never a fair comparison.
So what's the alternative? How should we measure progress?
Compare yourself to yourself. Only you.
Okay, how?
Think about where your English was last month, or even last week. Can you understand a bit more now? Can you say one more thing, even imperfectly? Focusing on personal improvement.
Yes. Any improvement, however small it feels, is a genuine win. That's the progress you should track and celebrate. Your own journey, your own growth.
Okay, let's try to pull all this fantastic advice together. For someone listening right now who feels completely stuck in that overthinking cycle, what is the absolute core message?
It's incredibly simple, but also the hardest part sometimes. If you want to get better at speaking English,
Yeah.
you have to actually speak English.
No magic bullet then.
Unfortunately not. No amount of thinking about speaking or studying grammar rules in silence will replace the act of actually producing the language.
And you're saying, don't wait. Not until you're ready or perfect.
Definitely not. That day never comes. The time to start is now, today.
Even if it's small steps.
Absolutely. Start small. Try one sentence. Try a short conversation. Take those little brave moments to just try, even if you feel awkward or stumble.
Because the goal isn't perfection.
Right. The goal is connection, expression, your own growth. Getting stuck on chasing perfection actually stops you from getting the practice you need to improve. Real progress comes from doing, from trying, from using the language.
So the next time that hesitation kicks in, that urge to overanalyze, what should we do?
Take a breath. Try to consciously tell that inner critic to be quiet for a minute and just let the words come out.
Embrace the imperfection.
Embrace it. See mistakes as learning fuel. Remember why you started learning in the first place. You absolutely can do this. You just need to give yourself permission to speak.
That's really powerful. Thank you so much. This has been incredibly helpful. I think our listeners have got some real actionable tools now and hopefully a big dose of encouragement too.
My pleasure. Honestly, the key is just that. Stop the overthinking. Start the speaking.
Yeah.
Every single attempt helps build momentum.
Brilliant. And maybe on that note, here's something for everyone listening to think about. Find just one tiny opportunity today, maybe even right now, to speak a little English, even just narrating an action to yourself like we discussed. Notice how it feels and see if you can do it again tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.
If you like the channel and want me to continue, please write in the comments. Also, write your comments about the video. Please don't forget to like my video and subscribe to the channel. We love you very much. Everything is to improve our English together. We will succeed together.